Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is the Haves and the Have-Nots Season 6, Episode 5, and the name of this episode is Errand Boy. Yo, this was a real good episode, y'all, so let me get started. Alright, the episode opens up. David is still, he's still in the waiting room at the county jail, and they still have not let him back in. He goes off on the, on the actual police officer that's working the front desk. He's like, I have been waiting for hours, and I need to get back there to see my son. I am a judge, and I'm there to represent my son. You need to let me back there. And he's like, well, the DA, you can't go back there unless you get approved by the DA. And he's like, well, you need to call the DA. He's like, I've called him, and he hasn't answered. Like, well, you need to help and get him on the phone. I'm not playing these games. I need to get back there to see my son because I'm representing him, and I need to get back there. And then all of a sudden George showed up, and I'm like, see, George, you playing with fire, but little do you know there's definitely gonna be something working on the other end, and I'm gonna get to that. But yeah, because George is really just being real smug because he wants to take down the Harringtons and the Criers, for the murder of the old DA, Jennifer Salison. So he's like, man, we've been trying to reach you. Like, I need to get back there. He's like, oh, you do? Just being real smug with him. He's like, okay, no problem. We'll take you back there to see your son. I'm like, see, George's going to end up getting his ass whooped because he really playing with fire. Then we get a clip of what's going on in the room. Jeffrey's ass is literally knocked out, literally laid up on the table, handcuffed. What ended up happening, because we saw, in the last episode, Justin started to choke him out. What ended up happening, he literally put him to sleep. So he was literally asleep on the table and just literally started waking up. And he's like, it's okay, Jeffrey, I just put you to sleep. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah. And as you can see, I can be just as crazy as you make me. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker done turned into another monster. We had Quincy, the thug monster. We had War, who was the rapist monster. And now we got a gay monster, which is Justin. I'm like, see, Tyler be coming up with these damn monsters on this show. It's crazy. But yeah, Justin done turned into a monster and shit. And pretty much Jeffrey was like, you know what, take me to my cell and don't ever talk to me again. And he's like, do you think I'm going to let you walk away from me after I gave up everything to have you? He's like, what? He's like, well, I lost my marriage. And he's like, I had nothing to do with that. And then Justin was like, well, who else am I supposed to blame for it? And he's like, first of all, that wasn't me. That was my mother. And he's like, yeah, I know. And I took care of that. So all of a sudden, because little does Justin know, Jeffrey had a sit-in with George, and George let him know about Veronica being in the accident. So he's like, did you cause my mother accident? He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, don't play with me, Justin. Did you cause my mother's accident? He's like, no, but if I did, I would be doing you a favor. I'm like, see, Justin, you playing with these little games with your smug ass. Like, I can't. And then he pretty much says that, look, take me to my cell right now. And Justin was like, oh, because, Jeffrey right now is wobbly because he just got choked out and shit. So Justin's like, okay, I got you. He grabs him and then rushes him to the wall. It's like, don't you ever do that to me again. And like, he just starts, again, being this controlling asshole. And then all of a sudden, David walks in. And then like Justin just had this crazed ass look on his face. I'm like, you see, we're going to have to kill Justin's ass. Because Justin then already in his mind got in his mind that Jeffrey belongs to him and that ain't nobody gonna get in the middle of it. But you done met another monster named David Harrington, because David operates like a smooth criminal. You won't even see David coming. Because sure as hell Candace didn't a few seasons ago when he got that $4 million from her ass. Just saying. And then when he also set up, Benny when he planted those drugs in Candace's car, and Benny ended up taking a rap. until Veronica stepped in. But anyway, not to get too much off topic. Alright, so pretty much David comes in, and he's like, so pretty much he's kind of looking like, what the hell is going on? Why were you on my son like that? And he says that he was resisting. And immediately David recognized him. You were the cop that was at my house. And he pretty much asks Jeffrey, what the hell is going on here? And Jeffrey's like, I resisted. He says, see, he resisted. That's why I had him pinned up on the wall. That's why they had to subdue Jeffrey. And he's like, why are you calling my son by his first name? He's like, well, it's two Harrisons in the room, I didn't want to get you confused. I'm like, Justin, if you don't sit your stupid ass down with that bullshit. I'm like, see, Justin is so mad and has gone so crazy. He is so messy right now. He ain't even covering his tracks. So immediately that alerts David something ain't right with this situation. So what ends up happening is that David and Jeffrey talks. So he asking, are you okay? And Jeffrey's like, I'm fine, lying ass. But then he asks, like, what did your mother do? And he says that when I came to court, she framed me for the murder of Quincy. And he says, why didn't you call me? And he says, well, do you think you can help me? See, that's the reason why I can't stand Jeffrey and his stupid ass. Because your father told you, dumbass, not to go down to the court in the first place. Now you up in the damn court and you being framed for murder. Now you need your father to help you get out. If you would have listened to his ass in the first place, your ass wouldn't be there. Stupid. Ugh. Anyway. So pretty much he says that, So then they talk about Veronica's accident. He says, have you sinned? He's like, no, because my main concern is you. And, he says, I'm going to get you out of here. And Jeffrey was like, can you get me out of here? He says, yes, I'll work on that. But we need to talk about what just happened. And he's like, what do you mean? He says, that cop. What's going on? And he's like, oh, there's nothing to tell. And he says that, no, if I'm going to help you, you're going to have to tell me everything. So he pretty much says that, yeah, this was a guy that I was messing around with. Mom videotaped him in the hotel room after we had sex, and she pretty much outed him to his wife in court. So he's saying, okay, so why did he have you pinned up against the wall like that? And he was like, well, he just gets aggressive and jealous, but I have it handled. I'm like, bitch, please. If David did not walk in that room, there is no telling what Justin would have did to your ass, Jeffrey. So you full of shit, and you need to have several fucking seats with that bullshit, trying to sell that to somebody. And he asked, are you in love with him? And he said, no. But, I'm into him at times. Yeah, because you just as crazy as his ass is. You got a thing for crazy dick. I mean, hey, it is what it is, but obviously the crazy is gotten out of your control. But then he pretty much tells him that, I'm going to make some phone calls to try to get you out of here. And he tells Jeffrey that he loves him. And we can see Jeffrey kind of tear up a little bit. So, that was a touching moment because he does love his son and he will go through great lengths to protect him. So I'm like, Justin, you just made yourself an enemy with David, and David got long pulls, so we're going to see how that's going to play out. But then Justin makes an appearance at the end of the episode, and I can't wait to talk about that shit. Alright, so next we actually see Mitch and David. They're at the hospital, and Mitch is like, and David's like, why the hell you follow me up in here, man? I mean, I just wanted you to get me right here. You have to come in here with me. And he's like, well, man, I'm just here to, look out for you because you definitely going to need it. I mean, because we know from the last episode, Benny is going to, Benny is going to, I meant Benny and, Benny and Mitch. Well, Benny is supposed to be borrowing money from one of the Malones, Mitch's uncle. So they're supposed to be meeting up with him. And And pretty much Mitch is like, okay, I'm trying to, have your back, man. That's all. Because you said you about to make a deal with the devil that you may not win. So we see that Benny goes to see Veronica, and Veronica's like, oh, my hero. I'm like, no damsel in distress ass. Knowing damn well you were Ice Queen, but yeah, he the only one that really cared to come see her. So, and he said that, she's like, my hero. And he's like, well, look, I just did what anybody else would do. She says, nobody else would not have done that. My husband wouldn't have done it, and my son would not have done that. He's like, I wonder why. He's like, yeah, they would have done it because you're full of shit and you've been putting them through so much hell, they probably would have let your ass die. And he says that, and then she tries to say, it's like, well, it's because I have a way of trying to make people better, and some of them they just don't appreciate that. I'm like, and then like, Benny was like, oh, that's what you call it. So we see that they kind of flirting and everything like that, and he says that, well, another reason why they probably wouldn't, or why they kind of feel the way they feel about you, is because you're a control freak. And he's like, and she's like, yeah, I can be. But she's like, but I can't control you, though. And he's like, no, you can't. But then she says that, then she apologizes to him, of how the way she acted after that whole affair. She says things got out of hand. And she also says, oh, and I lied to you. You are good in bed. And he's like, oh, I already know that. He's like, and you're cocky with it, too. He's like, no, I'm just confident in who I am. I'm like, Benny, you better quit being like your daddy. You got some good dick game because I'm like, yep, you got that from your father. Because I'm just like, okay, I see you, Benny. This Benny's like, yeah, I know I tore you up. But then she says that, what can I do for you? And he's like, nothing. He's like, and I'm thinking in my mind, dude, this is who you should be getting the fucking money from. She owes you. You saved her fucking life. Melissa was going to let her ass die. You saved her life. This is someone you could get that money from and won't have an IOU. She could give you that. And in his mind, since Benny is so fucking simple, he's, oh no, everything's fine, it's okay. But she's like, okay, well fine, you got an IOU from me. And then like she pretty much says, and she says, okay, well you got an IOU from me. He was like, okay, fine, I'm gonna hold you to it. So, but he says that, I got to get out of here because I got to go check on my mom. And she's like, well, how is little Hannah doing? I'm like, bitch, she can't help it, try to throw some shade. And he's like, and then he's like, yo, you need to stop that. It ain't cool. He's like, I'm just trying to be nice. Like, well, that didn't sound nice at all. It's because it wasn't nice, Benny. Keep up, nigga. What the hell? So, but then she says, I need a favor. They want to keep me here, so I need you to go to the house to pick up some things for me. Here's my keys, and the security code is 3759. And I had my clothes labeled Monday and Tuesday, which was in those bins. Bring those clothes to me. And then he talks about, oh yeah, and probably, Jeffrey's fiance may be there too. And she's like, oh, the girl that was with you? She's like, yeah, her. And she's like, she said Jeffrey's fiance. He's like, do you know that damn boy tried to kiss me once? He's like, ain't he gay? And he's like, oh no. And she's like, well hell, he tried to kiss me once. And she's like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, I went to the place to check on my sister, and I opened the door and he just kissed me. And, and I hit his ass. And she's like, well, good. I'm glad you hit his ass. You should have hit his ass real hard. And she's like, are you serious? And he's just like, yeah. You should hit his ass hard for kissing another man, especially a man that likes kissing men. I'm like, see, here your ass go. You up here, still smoked out from being in that car accident, and you still on some bullshit. So I was like, okay, Veronica. But then, so then eventually he leaves, and Mitch is trying to put Benny on game, but Benny want to be on some dumb shit. Because he pretty much saying, after he left the room with Veronica, Mitch was like, what happened? He was like, she just wants me to go to her house and pick up a few things. He's like, oh, I see. You an errand boy now. And he's like, yeah, but I need you to take me over there. Oh, so I'm the cabbie now, too. Like, Mitch. I love Mitch. Mitch is funny as shit. And it's like he's really trying to, get him to see that, but he's saying that, yeah, and then he was like, yeah, we need to go to the house. I need to bring the stuff back here, and then we can go meet your uncle. He's like, yo. Mitch is like, look at here, Benny. If you play your cards right, you won't even need my uncle. He's like, yo, I see the way she looked at you when you rushed her out that car. But then he's like, well, to tell you the truth, she more dangerous than your uncle is. See, first of all, before I say what I'm about to say, let me shout out to James Caldwell. Because James Caldwell called this out about Benny a few episodes back. Benny ain't shit. He literally has an ain't shit mentality. And he does ain't shit, and he makes ain't shit decisions. Like, bruh, you just saved this woman's life. She got the money to help you out. But you would rather borrow from the mob where there's a price on your head. Mitch is trying to tell you not to go down this road, but you just gonna do it any fucking way. So it's like, Benny, you just asking for somebody to take you out. Hannah just buried, y'all just, cremated Little Quincy. Hannah about to have another damn funeral because of your stupid ass. So Benny just really pissed me off. And then later on, we're going to see how much he ain't shit, because you throw something in Benny's face, Benny going to take it. I mean, because we kind of see this as a pattern with Benny. Like, Benny's gullible. Benny is quick to make, hasty decisions that always come back to bite him in the ass. Unlike your sister, because Benny got that thing with him too, which kind of makes me mad when he goes after Candace. Like, dude, you just as snaky and just as treacherous as she is. It's just that unlike you, Candace stands in her shit. You don't stand in your shit half the time. That's the main difference between the two of you. Because Mitch is trying to tell you, like, yo, you can get the money from her and be squared off instead of you trying to get the money from my uncle. But Benny is just dead set, oh, we doing this. So when your ass end up dead and they want to fuck you up, but then again, the Malones owe Candace a favor, so I'm thinking Candace gonna probably have to come in and rescue his ass. Just saying. So we saw that go on. Then we get the scene with Landon and Charles. Landon is still sucking up and kissing Charles' ass. Oh, you had a great speech. You are so amazing. I know you're going to be a great president. Southern Monroe. Mr. President. Like, bitch. And then, like, Charles is like, wow, you're like my biggest cheerleader. And he's like, well, and then so Landon's like, well, I cleared the morning for you and the night. He's like, oh, the night. What? You got a girl set up for me or something? He's like, well, actually, I was talking about me. We know we had fun, getting drunk late into the night. I'm like, Landon, you trifling slut. I'm like, you really trying to get him drunk so you can take the ping? Like, seriously? Like, boo-boo, how desperate are you? But then again, you got some girls like that who are out there. Just saying. So it really starts to get him when, you know, he says that, nah, I'm just gonna, you know, go to bed and everything, and, you know, and then he says that, you know, have you checked on her? Talking about Candace. And he's like, well, yeah. And he's like, well, I'm gonna need you to pay a visit to her soon, you know. And he says, okay, well, I'll take care of it for you. He's like, yeah, keep me updated. But we see that damn Landon is in his feelings, because I'm like, yeah, boo-boo, because Candace done put it on him, and he is in love with Candace. And he is doing all of this, you know, have all these eyes on her because he wants Candace, and he wants Candace for himself. That's the girl he wants. And Landon, we can tell, is really burnt by it, because we see him talking later on, and I'm going to get to that. Then we see the girl Gia that Candace told her that she was going to be her pimp. We see her in the lobby of the Artesian. Erica shows up with some designer clothes for her to wear, and he gives her the clothes, and, you know, Gia asks Erica, is she your pimp? And she's like, no, she's not my pimp. And he's like, well, why are you shaking, and why are you giving me these clothes like she said? She's like, you know what, just take the damn clothes, all right? And then all of a sudden she's like, I gotta get out of here. And as soon as she was about to leave, Candace shows up, and she was like, well. And she's like, oh, hey, Candace. She says, say hey, Candace to me one more time, and I'm gonna take a damn bottle and I'm gonna smash it over your damn head. So I was like, ooh. So she's like, so how does it feel, Erica? And Erica's like, what do you mean? She's like, how does it feel to be exposed with nobody watching your back? And she's like, she's like, it doesn't feel good. She's like, I know it doesn't. So this is what you need to do. You need to work David, and you need to work him fast. And I want that $100,000. And she's like, well, I'm sorry. She's like, you say sorry one more time, I'm gonna beat your ass. I don't want to hear about you being sorry. Just get the fucking money and work the fucking trick like I told you. So she done sends her off, and then she gets the clothes to Gia, and she pretty much says, put these clothes on and don't speak to me in public. You never address me in public. This is the last time we will speak in public. I will only talk to you privately from here on out. So go on upstairs. Next thing you know, we see this officer says, excuse me, you're under arrest. And she's like, excuse me, what the hell you mean I'm under arrest? She's like, you know, he's like, let's not make a scene in here. And she's like, what the hell do you mean make a scene? What did I do? What am I being arrested for? She's like, look, you're under arrest. Won't you just go outside? We'll cuff you outside. We won't make a scene of this. But you don't, this is a nice establishment. We don't want this happening. I'm like, if only you knew there's a whole bunch of criminal activity going on in that nice establishment. But then she's like, well, what am I being arrested for? And the officer tells Candace, because there was another female who came to, so they proved that, yeah, they are, you know, officers, and they were kind of undercover. And they said that, well, the reason why you're being arrested is for robbery. A man said that you have robbed him. And I'm like, see, I knew that shit was going to come back to bite her in her ass. You know, he was like, first of all, boo-boo, he saw you. You took his money, and you know, you thought that man was just going to walk away and not say shit. So he done called the cops on Candace's ass, and they end up taking her out. But she says that, you know, when she gets outside, cuff her ass. So that's what happened there. Then we actually get a scene. Kathryn goes to visit Hannah. You know, and then Kathryn's like, well, Derek said you sounded sad on the phone. You know, she's like, I mean, Hannah's starting to pick it up like, Kathryn, are you trying to push that man in my direction? You know, I mean, he's saying that, she's saying like, you know, and then she said, well, he did offer to take you out, didn't he? And Hannah's kind of putting it together like, bitch, you really trying it? And then she's like, you doing this, ain't you? He's like, and you probably told him to do the dishes for me too. She's like, well, I ain't told him to do all that. That was on him. But it's like, girl, he just wanted to take you out for coffee. You know, it's been a while since you smiled. You know, and she was like, well, And she says, if anything, and he said that he's been working our property for years. And I never thought why I didn't hook you guys up sooner. And she's like, yeah, because probably something was wrong with it. You know how Hannah is. So Kathryn was like, well, at the time he was married. It's like, oh, he married, huh? It's like, yes, but his wife died a year ago. So he's lonely too, and he has experienced loss. And I was like, look at Kathryn, the matchmaker, acting like Mrs. Dolly Levi from Hello Dolly. Like, yes, trying to arrange things. I'm like, I see you, Kathryn. And she's like, won't you go out for coffee for him? She's like, no. She's like, girl, you going, if I've got to drag your ass. Like, I'm not going. She's like, okay, fine. Well, I'm going to call him and he's going to pick you up for dinner in the movie. She's like, well, I thought it was just coffee. She's like, no, boo-boo. You ruined that and you should have took that deal, but now you're going for more. And she's like, I'm not doing this with you, Kathryn. I'm not going there. She's like, okay, fine. But we know damn Kathryn ain't going to give up on this shit. She's like, well, I still need you to come over and check out this maid because she won't be working with me long if she don't step her game up. So she told her she would. Then we get a scene up in Jim's room. Jim done invited Sarah's ass up there, and we now see that he got shit on her, and he got some heavy shit on her ass. Because, she coming in, she's like, I can't stay long. And she was like, I beg to differ. She's like, look, she's like, he's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you acting so formal? She's like, look, I've grown up, and I'm getting married. And he's like, oh, really? And she's like, yeah, and he's a judge. And he's like, what judge you marrying? And I think she said, Horowitz, I think. And she said, really? That man is old enough to be your grandfather. But then again, you always had daddy issues, even when we were messing around. I was like, Chip, you asshole. I mean, even though I can't stand Jim be making me crack up, especially when he get real smug. I mean, John Snyder plays this part really fucking well. Because he is just smug as fuck with her. And So he's like, so tell me, did he get you this assistant DA job? And she's like, no, I made it. She's like, no, I got it on my own. I worked hard to get to where I am. And he's like, yeah, I wouldn't lie to you about that. You did work hard. I was like, oh. So they kind of go back and forth, and eventually he tells her, look, you need to sit on that bed and shut up. We need to, I need to talk to you. And he pretty much says that, look, the DA wants to prosecute me, so you don't think I'm going to take out any son of a bitch or bitches, which includes you? Like, you think I won't take out any of you and let the whole deck of cards come down if I go down? So he pretty much tells her, this is what I want you to do. Get rid of the evidence. And she says, it's not just evidence. We got a star witness. And he's like, who the hell is the star witness? And she says that, he says the star witness is your son. And Jeffrey Harrington, the Harrington boy, Jeffrey. They pretty much are the star witnesses in your case, and Jennifer Salton and made a deal with them. So these are the star witnesses in this case, and this is what we're going on. So she pretty much says, okay. So Jim is like, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to make that record disappear. And she's like, really? She's like, yeah, I want you to make that record disappear. And she's like, well, I can't do that, and I'm not gonna do that and all this shit. So Jim starts pulling up the facts like, oh, boo-boo, yeah, I need you to make this record disappear just like I made yours disappear. Pretty much that, because after all, you were a little, because I think she was an escort like Candace was. So, and now she's an assistant DA. He's like, oh, and think about it. Because if you don't do this, your house of cards are going to come tumbling down. Lying on federal documents, lying about, your credentials and all that. So she's like, okay, fine, I'll get it. So she's about to leave. It's like, oh, no. take your clothes off. And she's like, Jim, I'm not doing this. He says, take your clothes off. And she's like, yeah, because at first when he was saying that, you owe me, she's like, I paid you. She's like, oh, you talking about with sex? Girl, you weren't paying me with that. If anything, I was giving you the satisfaction. I was like, oh, damn, Jim. You're real confident in your ping, huh? So when he was telling her to take her clothes off and shit, she's like, I'm not doing this. I'm getting married. And he's like, yeah, and I've been married for years, and I've been sleeping around ever since, so it ain't no different. Take your damn clothes off. You know you want this, and you know you ain't had it better than me. I'm like, see, Jim, that cocky motherfucker. Now we see where Wyatt gets it from again, as I said before. But yeah, I was just like really over the top with that one. I'm like, see, Jim's still on that bullshit. So then we see Mitch and David. We see that Mitch and Benny. I don't know why I had them written in David in my notes for some odd reason. My bad, y'all. Mitch and Benny went to Veronica's house. Melissa's there, and she is like got on a bathrobe, and she's pretty much got like this little sexy lingerie on. And she is literally throwing herself on Mitch and Benny. And she's telling Mitch, do you think I'm sexy? And Mitch is like, hell yeah. I'm like, I ain't mad at you, Mitch. And then like Benny's, and she's like, yeah, you're so handsome. And he's like, and like Mitch is like, thank you. And she's like, and so are you, Benny. And I'm just like, see. But I understand why she's doing this crap, because this is the same shit she did with Jeffrey. She literally just threw herself onto his ass, and we kind of seen her do the same thing here, because Benny goes upstairs to get the stuff for Veronica. All of a sudden he comes out the room. She done got the bathrobe open, and she got like this 2-piece lingerie piece on, and she's just like, you don't have to run away, Benny. She's like, dude, don't you realize she wants me to marry her gay son? He looks at me like I disgust him. I was beginning to think that I wasn't desirable. But, so pretty much she like throws herself on to Benny. And since Benny ain't shit, Benny completely fell in for it, because she like literally pushes him down on the chair, and she starts, straddling him, and she's like, come on. She's like, but Mitch is downstairs. She's like, it's okay. Let him hear us. Ooh. And then all of a sudden, he just like, oh, just shut up. And starts, getting it in. I'm like, see, Benny, in your ain't shit ways, because now you done caused some shit, and definitely that's going to come back later on. So then, we actually see that Landon's meeting up with this woman who's obviously a part of his team, who's there spying on Candace. And pretty much, so she asks about Charles, and she's like, okay, he's situated, but all he does is whine all the time, and, and he asks about, what's going on with Candace. She's like, things are going good, and he's like, he just makes it so hard, come on, she's a thug, and I don't even understand what he want with that stupid bitch. Oh, girl starts picking it up. She's like, wow, she's really getting under your skin, huh? He's like, yeah, and for some odd reason, he melts for her. He's like, oh. She's like, oh, so I see. You want him to melt for you. And then you start seeing his ass get all defensive and shit. She's like, you do realize he's 100% straight, right? And she's like, yeah. And I've had men who say they were 100% straight, but then we see that the law of averages were not as accurate as they thought. I'm like, oh, so you really think you that bomb bitch who can turn out straight? And I'm like, okay. So I was just like, so she's like, oh my God, you want him, huh? You really want him. And he's just like, you know what, I have to go, and, next time the drinks will be on me, and all this shit. I'm like, see, Landon trying to be on some messy shit. He don't want Candace in the situation because she knows that Charles wants Candace, but he wants Charles. we're gonna see what this bitch gonna do, because we already know Landon's a salty bitch, and she gonna dig out of her ass to find something to get her way. So because she tried it before, but that shit came back to bite her. Okay, we're gonna see what you're gonna do, bitch. Yeah, just know I got my eye on you. Then we get the last scene of the damn episode. Justin, that made his way to Wyatt, been banging on the damn door like, open this damn door. And like, Wyatt's like, who the hell are you? Get away from my door. And then all of a sudden, dude just pretty much, damn fucking Justin just pretty much just stormed his way into the damn house and shit and had this big ass fucking crowbar. I'm like, yo, this motherfucker tripping. And he's like, I'ma bash your fucking head in. Yo, what you gonna do now? You ain't talking all that shit now, huh? See, that's what you get, Wyatt. You should have fucking kept your fucking mouth shut. He's like, get the hell out of my house. He's like, what the hell you doing talking to Jeffrey? What the hell do you want with Jeffrey? Because Jeffrey belongs to me. And I'm like, ooh. And he's like, oh my God, you insane son of a bitch. What the hell is this? Like, get the hell out of my house. He's like, you're gonna kill me right now. Why are you calling? He's like, man, get the fuck out of here, you bitch ass. And the next thing you know, they start fighting. And that's where it ended. And I'm like, see, Justin ain't gonna be happy till somebody put him out of his fucking misery. And maybe that's exactly what he needs, because I said he's become the new monster. He's in the same category as Quincy in War, and now he's become the third monster. So we're gonna have to keep our eyes watching this to see what's gonna happen here, because yeah, Justin gotta go. Because now, you know, you literally coming up in people's houses with crowbars and shit, trying to fuck people up because they calling Jeffrey. Really, bitch? Ain't nobody got time for that. But that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the next episode of The Haves and the Have-Nots. So until then, everybody, take care.